In this explainer, we're diving into one of the most dangerous geopolitical situations on the planet, the high-stakes confrontation between the United States, Iran, and Israel. It's a standoff that has pushed the entire Middle East right to the edge of a massive new conflict. And that's the question on everyone's mind, isn't it? Tensions are at a knife's edge, and they're being fueled by everything from nuclear ambitions and shadow wars to direct military threats. So how on earth did we get here? At the very heart of this crisis, you've got this incredibly complex three-way standoff. On one side, the overwhelming military power of the United States. On another, the regional ambitions and, the unique capabilities of Iran. And then you have the urgent security needs of Israel. Every single move one of them makes sends shockwaves through the region, ratcheting up the danger for everyone involved. Okay, so to really get a grip on what's happening right now, we've got to rewind a bit. We have to go back to the original flashpoint, the bitter fight over Iran's nuclear program. This right here is the foundation for this whole mess. All right, so it all boils down to this one huge disagreement. You've got the United States and its allies who are basically saying, no way, not ever. Iran must never get a nuclear weapon. But Iran has always maintained that its program is completely peaceful, that it's just for energy. This massive gap in trust, well, it's the engine driving this entire conflict. And that deep mistrust, well, that's what blew up the 2015 nuclear deal, the JCPOA. After the U.S. pulled out in 2018, Iran started firing up its nuclear activities again, taking that agreement apart piece by piece. Since then, they haven't been able to land on any kind of stable deal. And honestly, the path for diplomacy has pretty much vanished. And whenever we say nuclear program, this is really what we're talking about, uranium enrichment. It's the key process. At low levels, you get fuel for a power plant. Simple enough. But you crank up those levels, and you get the material you need for a bomb. And Iran's progress here is exactly what keeps leaders in Washington and Tel Aviv up at night. So, with the diplomats basically out of the picture, this conflict didn't just stay in meeting rooms or labs. No way. It spilled out across the entire region and morphed into this dangerous, undeclared shadow war that's being fought on a whole bunch of different fronts. So, Iran's big play isn't to go head-to-head. Instead, it projects its power using this whole network of proxy militias. And man, is it effective. Think about it. It's cheaper, it gives them what's called plausible deniability, and it lets them challenge their enemies indirectly. We're talking about groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and all these militias Iraq and Syria that pose a constant, direct threat to American and Israeli interests. Now, on the other side, you've got Israel. And for them, seeing Iran setting up shop right on their borders, well, that's an existential threat. So they've gone with a much more direct strategy. Israel has launched hundreds of strikes against Iranian targets, especially in Syria. And they've been blamed for secret operations inside Iran, too. For Israel, this is all about prevention. And how does Iran hit back? By showing off its own scary good military tech. They've retaliated with these increasingly sophisticated missile and drone attacks, proving that they can hit targets with real precision way across the region. And this just creates this terrifying tit-for-tat cycle. And this cycle, this back and forth, has become terrifyingly normal over the last couple of years. An Israeli strike hits some Iranian infrastructure, and it's answered by an Iranian barrage of ballistic missiles and drone swarms. Every single round of this violent exchange pushes the region closer and closer to the brink of all-out war. Okay, so this isn't just a shadow war anymore. Now it's all out in the open. It's like a giant military chessboard, and all the major players are moving their most powerful pieces into position, making their intentions dangerously clear to everyone. And when the U.S. wants to send a message, it sends a big one. We're talking about a massive military buildup, including deploying entire aircraft carrier strike groups, like the USS Gerald R. Ford, right into the region. A carrier group isn't just a ship, it's a floating military base. It is an unmistakable sign of Washington's power and its willingness to use it. And it's not just on the water. The U.S. has also moved in its top-tier aircraft, F-35s, F-22 stealth fighters, long-range bombers, to bases all over the Middle East. Now, you have to imagine, from where Iran is sitting, this doesn't look like defense. This looks like the U.S. is getting ready to throw the first punch. So, on paper, yeah, the U.S. military is in another league technologically. It's just overwhelming. But Iran's not helpless. They've gotten smart. They've focused on what we call asymmetric strengths. Basically, that just means using what you have, like a ton of missiles, a nimble navy in the Persian Gulf, and that whole network of proxies, to make life miserable for a bigger enemy. Any conflict would be incredibly messy and complicated. And you also have to look at what's happening inside Iran. Their leadership is under immense pressure. The economy's a mess, people are restless. So for the regime, backing down on the world stage looks like weakness at home. And they believe showing that kind of weakness could cause their whole authority to just collapse. That pushes them to be even more aggressive abroad to project strength. Which brings us right back to today, to this incredibly fragile and dangerous standoff, where it feels like the entire region is just holding its breath, waiting to see what happens next. So why are we here? A huge part of it is that diplomacy has just failed again and again and again. The talks keep collapsing because, frankly, neither side trusts the other to negotiate in good faith. And when you don't have that diplomatic off-ramp, military threats become the only way to talk. But that leads to a big question, right? If things are so bad, why hasn't all-out war broken out yet? Well, there are a few powerful things holding it back. For one, everybody understands the cost, both in money and in lives, would be catastrophic. There's still some back channels for communication, even if they're strained. But maybe most importantly, there's this shared fear of a war that could spiral out of control and destabilize the whole world. But here's the bottom line, and it's a scary one. Despite all those restraints, the situation is still on a total knife edge. You've got all these military forces operating so close to each other, with tensions this high. It means we are literally one mistake, one misread signal, away from a spark that could set the entire region on fire. The question isn't just if it could happen, it's what, if anything, can possibly stop it.